You're watching MMAOddsbreaker.com. I'm Frank Trigg. That is TJ Dillashaw getting ready to make his trek down to Brazil. When do you leave?
Saturday.
Oh, so coming up pretty quick. Okay.
Yeah,
Is that enough time to get acclimated?
I believe so. I don't think it's like that big of a change in altitude and anything. It's just the humidity that you got to be worried about, but that's not much of a deal.
Well, humidity for wrestlers don't really bother us that much because we're so used to having to cut weight, and the rooms being hot back in the day, so it's really an easy job for us. But do you think a lot of the other fighters, does that really bother them, the humidity, especially down in Brazil?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I think the heat affects a lot of people. Dwayne makes us work out in our gym all the time with the AC off, so it gets hot in there and makes our mat slippery. But he likes us having the disadvantage while sparring.
And that's like a lot of Dwayne seems to me to be putting a lot of old wrestling tactics. You're not when it's late in the round, late in the third period, you're not gonna be able to hold a guy. Well, late in the third round, you're not gonna be able to hold a guy either. Let's make it hot so it's uncomfortable, miserable. He does a lot of strange things like that. Do you notice that it's also all of a sudden it's familiar even though it's a new coach? Well, not new anymore, but when he first came in, it's a familiar tactic. Did you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, actually, now that you bring it up, yeah. I mean, I never really thought about it that way, but that's how a lot of wrestling coaches are. They want you to kind of struggle in practice so your matches are easier. And yeah, Dwayne's kind of running it like it's a wrestling team. I mean, we're more of a. I mean, we were always a team, but we're even more brought together. We're running more team practices now, as before we were doing individual mitts with Master Tong, and we still do our individual stuff, but we do a lot more team practices.
What's the record right now with Alpha Male since Dwayne showed up?
Shoot, man, it's pretty good. I mean, we got some guys. We've lost some on the undercard and stuff, but in the UFC right now we're undefeated. I think we're like 13 or 15-0 or something like that in the UFC.
15-0 in the UFC right now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You're on the main card. How much
Yep.
razzing will it be? Take your emotion out of it. Take your ego out of it. If you which is not going to happen in this fight, at least in my opinion. If you lose, but how much razzing are those guys going to give you when you come home that you're the first guy that broke the egg? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it'll be that big a deal. I mean, oh, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it'll be that big a deal. I mean, yeah, it's gonna suck if you're always the first one to lose, but this is our livelihood. It's kind of hard to make fun of someone when it's your job. You train so hard for this one moment, and if you do go in there and for some reason you lose this fight, it's kind of hard to take it made fun of or having someone like make fun of someone else when it's like I mean, this is your paycheck. This is you living every day. It's kind of hard.
All right, well, let's talk about the guy that you're going to beat up. At least in my opinion, coming up here next week, Raphael Assuncao, 20-4. You're coming with 8-1. The record books. If this was like a year ago, look at the records. It's like there's no way you guys should be fighting each other. But now, fast forward in UFC, records don't mean anything anymore. Quality of competition and where you fall within that lineup really means a lot. Were you surprised when you got the phone call to fight Raphael, or did it just make sense to you when they told you who it was?
It kind of made sense. I was sitting down and I told him I wanted a tough opponent. I wanted someone in the top 10, and I was kind of sitting down and looking like who's winning. Who's me make the biggest gains. And Raphael was on a 4-fight win streak just as I am. We fought some of the same guys. It just kind of fit perfectly. So I figured before they even told me who I was going to fight, that's probably a good option.
Break down Ascensio's style, and what do you think he's going to? Because he's looking at film on you. What do you think he's going to try to do to you to win the fight?
I think he's a very well-rounded fighter. He does have some wrestling with him as well, so it's gonna be a tough fight. But he's gonna try to throw his one strike speed a little bit. He wants to slow the motion down. He wants to throw one strike at a time, one big strike. If he can, try to win the round with the takedown, but I don't think he's gonna be able to do that. Like I said, he's well-rounded. He's going to try to win it everywhere, but he likes to slow the pace down. He likes to counter punch and keep it slow.
And that's not your style at all. Yours is aggressive, in your face, constant motion, constant pushing. How hard is it going to be to counter that, to keep a guy from backing away and trying to tie you up the whole time?
Just working my angles. Me and Dwayne have done a good job of working certain angles and seeing what Raphael does and what habits he has. And, I got to make sure I don't get overly aggressive, but, stay in his face with my good angles.
Right now, Team Alpha Male, who's the toughest guy in the room during practice?
There's a lot of them, but I'd have to vote Chad Mendez. He's probably the one that gives me the toughest fight. He's like freakishly strong, man. He's like not even fair how strong he is.
Because he gives you such a tough go every time, do you always seek him out every practice to better yourself? Do you always grab and go, look, Chad, we're going at least one round together?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, we're always going with the tougher guys in our room. I mean, that's how we're going to get better. I mean, at least if that's your goal.
Okay, so has there been a point at all during practice when when someone, not necessarily you, but someone in the Team Alpha Male program has done something wrong where Dwayne has actually flipped his lid and scared all of you at the same time?
Dude, Dwayne scares us all the time, man. Like he's just a very intense guy. He takes things very personal, and you can't show up late to practice. You can't be talking while he's showing you technique. Just the way like I think the things that Dwayne scared me with the most is when he's interacting with people on the street that don't understand his personality. They'll kind of like cross it with something like they'll say something funny and he just doesn't get it, and he'll like kind of get in their face, and people don't understand like what he means by it. So he's he's an awesome guy, great coach, but he's definitely on edge all the time.
All right, well, TJ, thanks for coming on here. Good luck down there in Brazil. It's going to be an interesting matchup for me, at least, to watch. So have fun down there. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.